It looks like a lot of people have joined, so let's get started. Welcome everyone to this month's APTA Social. It's called Building Your Community. So we're just going to be learning how to get involved and strengthen your network. Today's social, we're going to be talking with other APTA members about just like finding our community, because it's a huge community in the APTA. So we just want to learn how to navigate that. And my name is McKenna Sprinkle. I'm the Director of SPTA Relations on the APTA Student Board. So it's been a really fun experience and a great networking opportunity. And today we have some amazing panelists for you all, and they're super excited to answer your questions. I am honored to introduce this wonderful group of panelists. Macie, Fredericks, and Lorna Jarrett. Jarrett.
My name is Macie Frederick. I have been a PTA since 2018. Graduated from Jefferson State Community College in Alabama. Currently, I'm serving as a social media lead for the APTA, all the PTA pages. So quick plug is to follow those pages to keep up with everything that's going on in the PTA world. I'm also on the education committee for Alabama and a co-chair for membership in Alabama as well. We will be so excited to answer all of your questions and stuff today. Super happy that all of y'all are here and interested in continuing to build our community. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lorna Jarrett, and I currently serve as the PTA council rep as well as the PTA rep for Kansas. What else do I do? I'm full of, my focus is in wellness and physical therapy as it relates to the outpatient setting and skilled nursing. Mentoring is a huge, important thing for me. The way that I operationalize that would be with the ambassador program, which I encourage you to be a part of that within the APTA. Also, as being a clinical director for the Special Olympics. So this very weekend, there's going to be at least 8 PTAs and 6 physical therapists who's going to be joining in on that. So APTA has quite a bit to offer. I've been a part of it since I was a student in 2012. And I always say that had I known that the APTA could be a partner with me, I would have been involved a lot sooner. I've always kept my membership, but didn't always take advantage of what was in front of me. And so that's very important, an important message that I do bring to the table. And I look forward to talking more to you and encouraging you and inspiring you in whichever way that I can.
Thank you guys. Macie, were you able to share? Sorry, I got kicked off.
Yeah, we've just finished our introductions. So perfect timing.
Okay. So I just want to ask you guys the first question, but students, remember, we want this to be super interactive. So any questions you guys have, definitely raise your hand. So first, what benefits have you guys found from being involved in the APTA?
Is that for the panel or the students, or are you directing it to either one of us? I think yeah. Do you want to answer that, Macie?
I can. So the benefits that I have gained from being involved in the APTA is a sense of community, being able to work alongside the PTAs that make our profession so great. I think that working towards the goals of improving our involvement in decisions in the physical therapy realm and representing PTA as well has been very important to me. I've met a lot of cool people. I've learned a lot from other fellow PTAs that have been practicing longer and been involved in the APTA longer, and they've really poured into myself, my practice, and as well as my just professional goals in general. So I think that it's caused me to grow a lot, which has helped in my career.
Yeah. And so the mentorship aspect is an important part of the APTA. So I encourage you all to find a mentor, more than one, for every aspect, meaning it can profession wise, also personally wise. How do you want to present yourself? How do you want to, what do you want your practice to look like? How do you want to dress? You know, it's mentoring is for every aspect of you. And so I encourage you to find someone, and you can be mentored from afar. And so just go on that journey of looking for what it is that you want your practice to look like, and it can change. Know that it can change. What you lock into at this moment is not necessarily where you're locked into. And so try not to burden yourself with that one thing, because it could be multiple things. But just know that all of your education, all of your experiences are going to work together for you. And there will be no wasted time at all. But you are in control of this process. Know that you are in control of it. I'm curious to know how many people have mentors or who is part of a mentorship program. Are you guys talking in the chat? Can you say, can you use your reactions and indicate if you have a mentor? So thumbs up, thumbs down. Does everybody know how to do that in your reactions? Okay. Well, Ian gave me a thumbs down. Thumbs up. George has a mentor. Okay. So Ian and George, I'm curious. I'm just curious. Adriana. So we have a need for some mentors. What's your perspective? Can I ask George tell us about your mentor experience and what that's been like for you?
Yeah, so my experience, it's more of an informal process. I'm in Washington State. Our board and our delegates, they're pretty engaged with our student SIG. So as part of the student SIG as well, I've gotten to meet many of those members. And again, it was really informal. One of our reps just kind of took me to the side and was just like, all right, George, you're sitting with me, you're doing all this stuff. And, they're texting me all the time and just giving me pointers on how I can kind of like fulfill this role and reach out to students and like brainstorm ideas and whatnot. But it's, I think, helped also that I'm really engaged in wanting to pursue this position and, do a lot of things with it. So,
Yeah. And
yeah.
thank you for that. I heard you mention the word informal, and know and understand what you mean, like not necessarily a mentorship program, if you will, but know that those informal relationships like that are powerful. They're totally powerful and very beneficial, and that is totally being mentored for sure. And so, Ian, you had your thumbs down. What do you think about that experience of mentoring? And what steps do you think that you could take to get one based on the little bit that you've heard those so far?
I mean, definitely reaching out to like my own school, just because like we have a like PT department and all that would definitely be a good start to kind of reach out, I think. But it was definitely interesting to hear a lot of those pointers. I feel like that would be really helpful to kind of have someone to like communicate that with.
Yeah. Okay. Uh-oh.
Okay, I'll hop to the second question, Lorna. What sections are you part of, and what does your involvement in them mean to you?
Sections, health systems, which was formerly health policy, because I'm very interested in advocacy, interested in what allows physical therapy to be received at a legislative and state, federal level. And so I was interested in that. Also, the leadership SIG, they changed the name. We went through a change of things recently. So but the leadership SIG as well. And so those two organizations was previously the Catalyst. And so, yeah.
Yep, I am not part of a SIG, but I'm involved in other ways. So for me, with the membership committee, working in my state to talk to students and young professionals, and also people that have been out practicing for a while, about the importance of membership, meeting them. I get to mentor a lot with students, helping them with skills. Hey, I need help with X, Y, and Z. I'm there to help them with it. I'm also on the education committee, so that one's been a big one for me. Our big project is our annual conference every year. So we go through applications for different courses and what we think would be beneficial. My main part of wanting to be part of the education committee is to bring education for PTAs. A lot of their courses in the past have been geared more towards PTs, and we need to be there and present and learning alongside fellow PTs. So that's been a really, really great involvement for me as well.
Yeah. I want to give you, I looked this up, apologize for that, but sometimes you may just not have that total answer and be okay with that. So it's the Academy of Leadership Innovation is what it switched to. It was HPA, the Catalyst, but it's the Academy of Leadership and Innovation. And it's really, really great in that they do have leadership courses and leadership certification courses that individuals can take who want to advance their leadership. They also look for individuals to teach those leadership courses from PTAs to PTs. And so it's called a LAMP. And there's 1, 2, and 3 different levels of that leadership. So know that that's something that you can be involved in to increase your leadership. That's really, really professional. They also have grants that can be used for research. And so that's a wonderful program to be a part of, a component to be a part of as well. And so what other questions do we have? What questions do you have for us?
Sophia, I see your hand up. What do you have for them?
Hi guys. So I'm loving this discussion so far, and I kind of wanted to branch off of the discussion of like mentorship, and especially for like students and new grads who haven't quite found their place, and talking about sections. I was wondering what advice you have for students or new grads who haven't yet found their niche or their tribe in the profession but want to.
I'll say that I really haven't found my niche yet, and I've been practicing for a while. I think that nowadays people are getting so hyper specialized, and you'll see that you have clinics that are just women's health, or just like super sports related, or just vestibular. And I think that that's great, but I don't think that for me, I've had to learn to not put that pressure on myself of trying to find my niche. It'll come. I've worked in all settings, including inpatient. I truly love all of it. And love being able to bounce around and have different knowledges and learn from people that are hyper specialized in those areas. So I wouldn't really put for me, when I graduated, I was really worried, like, well, am I going to be an outpatient PTA or am I going to be an inpatient PTA? Or do I really want to do sports, or do I really want to do like geriatrics? And I think that what I've learned so far is to not box myself in, be open to everybody that's around me, to learn new tricks and new skills based on different. And I think that what I've learned. So it's, I would say not to box yourself in, just be open to learning and to move around to different things that you may not initially be comfortable with. But yeah, I think that's where I'm at with it.
I totally agree with that. I think that's why I made the statement initially that know that all things that you do are going to work together, and not to be too concerned about choosing that one thing. So certainly, Macie, I really, really agree with that. And just know that as you flow and as you walk through things, there may be something that feeds your heart and comes a little bit more natural, or fits your passion, or fits your mission statement, all those types of things. And so I mention those words because that's part of your personal journey, that learning what are your strengths, what are your personal strengths, what are your, I recommend strength finders. I recommend learning your mission statement. I recommend you through this path. You may not know all the answers upon your graduation, but as you take that journey, you'll learn those things that you may be more passionate about in terms of even community-wise. What things do you want to do to assist with the community? And so you may find yourself navigating that way to be a little bit, may find yourself in a zone that's going to just be very perfectly placed. That's what I'll call it, the perfectly placed for you. I know for me, it's always been an outpatient, although I did work in the hospitals, of course. I did work in skilled nursing and all that, but the wellness aspects of thing, I came into physical therapy as a professional already, and having done different things outside of physical therapy. So I brought all of that into the practice of physical therapy, doing grant funded programs for the city, at work programs, doing all those things, and dance as well. And so for me, it looks like something of a wellness model. And so that's the path that I've taken, wellness model and community, all about community. And so I found that is what fueled me along this journey.
Thank you guys for sharing that. I think it's like really helpful to hear that, even, like Macie, like you haven't necessarily found this like one thing that you want to do, but you can, like, we can treat so many things. It can be so broad. Because I think sometimes as a student, I feel like, man, I really need to really want to be a part of the acute care section, or really want to be a part of the federal section. And yeah, so that's really just helpful to know that it's okay. It's okay if you want to bounce from thing to thing and try different things, because it is so diverse, and it's great to, if you get tired of something, move on to something else. So,
Right.
but we can take one more question before announcement. So if anyone has a question, You can either put it in the chat or raise your hand. But if no one has one, I can ask another question. So for Macie and Lorna, is there like a connection that you have made in the APTA just through like going to a conference or a state thing that you feel like it was just a random connection and then you had something like really cool come out of it?
I would say that certainly going to the conferences, that it does help for you to make those networking connections and to do it intentionally. You have to go with that mindset that you're going to intentionally do that. And so that's how I became involved with the Special Olympics, is individuals. I research people. The president, Roger Herr, looked at him as I'm naturally curious about people. So just research the different things that they were a part of. Another individual at the time who was at an office looked at different things that she was a part of, her practice, different organizations that they were a part of in Washington, D.C. And so that's how I map my path. Is I look and see what other people are doing, and I choose to be mentored by them from afar. Anyway, during the conference, went up to meet many of those individuals, and from there is how I became directly involved with the Special Olympics and became involved with other things, because people really are interested in meeting you and are interested in you knowing about their journey. You just have to find an interest and and intentionally seek it out.
I agree with the conferences. I enjoy going to the conference every year and meeting people that are in practicing in Alabama. I haven't been to CSM yet. It's one of my big goals, is to make it to one. But for me, like Lorna said, being open to making the connections. Our profession is very people oriented. You kind of have to be a people person just because you're in front of people all day. So we have to remember to keep that turned on even when we're in a social setting or a learning setting when it comes to the conferences. So the connections that I've made at conferences and at just within my APTA realm as well. Now I have extra people that, hey, I know that they work in this setting, but I'm not really sure what to do with this patient. That's another person that I can go to and ask for advice. Or if I have a question of, hey, I would like to build my career to be able to get involved in this. Do you have any connections of people that you know that could help mentor me or help me reach my goal? Or, hey, I'm moving to this city. I need help finding a job. Do you know anybody that has any openings in this area? It's a really big network. And if you haven't already, I really do suggest creating a LinkedIn. You're able to very easily search for other professionals in your area. You're able to see updates of what they're doing. I post on mine like, hey, I'm doing the Zoom meeting tonight. You should come to it. Or, hey, we're having the Alabama conference. Or, hey, we're having this pub night. Trying to keep everybody in the loop and involved with what I'm doing. And then on the other side of that, I'm able to see what other people are doing, congratulating them on that. Looking through LinkedIn. So now whenever I see them in person or have a Zoom meeting with them, I can say, hey, I saw that you were working on this project. How did that go? And being interested in the other person, which to me, being more interested in others than me being interesting is a big one. I think that, especially with our older clinicians that have been practicing for a long time, we have a lot to learn from them. They've seen a lot more clinically than what we've been taught in school books and know how to handle more situations. Patients have said, hey, well, I made this mistake in my career, so here's what I would suggest you do. to help you not like learning from other people's mistakes or what they've done to further advance their career.
Yeah, I love that. I think like it has been so amazing, like working as a clinician under, so I graduated in May. So just working as a clinician under people that have so much more experience or even a year's more, I'm like, wow, I have a lot to learn from you. And you, yeah, it can just really give me so much insight. And so it's great that we get to work as a team as PTs and PTAs. So right now we're just going to have a brief interruption, and our so Corey's going to give some announcements. He's a director on the student board. So Corey, go ahead and tell us what's coming up.
Perfect. Thanks, McKenna, and thank you guys for all this insightful conversation. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure that everybody else on the call is kind of valuing it as well. So I know you guys just mentioned about CSM. So CSM is in Boston, Massachusetts next year in February, and the registration is now open for housing and the conference itself. You can see the link in the chat, but you can save $30 on the registration if you register early before November 8th. There's a whole bunch of free prizes that you can get entered in with that early registration. Then the advanced discount, which is kind of like the next way to save some money, ends January 10th. So I would definitely try to get on that as soon as possible because the housing and registration will kind of fill up quick. I don't think there's like a limit on the registration for the actual conference, but housing might be hard to come by. But if you can't make it to Boston this year, there's always that opportunity to kind of visit it virtually from the comfort of your own home. If that is not feasible for you to kind of travel to Boston, that's totally understandable. So there's the APTA CSM on demand, and those are available on the website as well. This year at CSM, we're really excited to announce that we'll have a student networking breakfast on that February the 15th with a special guest speaker. So you guys as students won't want to miss that. If anybody's inspired like I am from tonight's talk and you want to kind of get involved at that next level, feel free to reach out to Amelia, who is kind of member engagement coordinator, and her email can be found in the chat as well. And then the last thing real quick is that nominations are now open through December 1st. Those can be found on the APTA's Honors and Awards Program website. So if you know someone that's, a fellow student or, a fellow clinician that kind of, struck you as such an insightful and inspiring individual, and you feel like they have great service to the profession, then feel free to head over and nominate them. But thank you guys so much for listening to those announcements.
Thanks, Corey. Yeah, I went to CSM last year and made so many amazing connections and still talk to some of the people I met. And so I really encourage any one of you guys to go. It was amazing. Well, I'll start with our next question. I feel like we have a really unique perspective here because we have Macie and Lorna, who are both PTAs. So have you, what are some common mistakes that you see PTs or PTAs make when it comes to the PT-PTA team?
I can answer this. So we get a lot with the clinic I work at. We have a sports residency for PTs. So a lot of them are new grad. They're learning how to be a clinician while also learning to be a sports resident. So I think a lot of it with trying to teach them what we are able to do. I think that is lacking in general. I think we're working on that to narrow that bridge. And like for me, I have my advanced proficiency pathways in orthopedics through the APTA. So I have a little bit more extensive knowledge in orthopedics than a new grad PTA will. So I think that it's really important just to say, hey, what are you specialized in, or what are you interested in, what your skills are. Just because my degree is an associate doesn't mean that I don't know a lot in certain areas. So I think really getting to know what each other's strong suits are. In our clinic, like we have a person that's really, really good with shoulders. We have other people that are really, really good with ACLs. And I try to make sure that I'm available to learn more from them, but also expand on my knowledge that I know. I've had a lot more clinic experience, years wise, compared to some others. So, you know, I am a PTA, but I do and have seen a lot. So I don't think that staying firm in what you do know, but also being open to learning from each other is what makes a really, really great, strong bond between the PTs and PTAs. And with my personal knowledge, with every PT works a little bit different. They have different preferences on how their patients are treated, or some people want all their shoulders to start on heat first thing, and then manual, and then whatever. So you have to learn and be open to learning their processes of how they want things done, but also stand firm and, hey, well, I'll see this issue, let me give this exercise, or let me do this range of motion or whatever to fix that. And just having open communication. I try to make sure at least once a week with each PT that I'm going and saying, hey, this person, I noticed X, Y, and Z with them, so I did X, Y, and Z. Or this person came in a lot of pain, so when you look at the note, we didn't do as much today because of that. Or, hey, I saw this, but what do you think about this issue? Like, how can I address it? Or what is your thoughts on addressing it? And we're able to brainstorm together in more of a team form than one delegating to the other.
Yeah, I have found that an important part of developing the PT and PTA relationship has taken place in even before the graduation aspect in building the relationships. There's several PTs. I mean, I mentor PTs as well as PTAs. And so that PT is going to have a totally different perspective of the PTA because of that. Also, within the clinic situation, it truly is having that respect, mutual respect, and making sure, like Macie did mention, just making sure that you know what each other's specialties are, and then being responsible for that, or supporting that effort. But I do find that working together in the clinic and outside of the clinic, it is very important. And so it just takes me right back to the APTA, takes me right back to the sections, right back to being involved with, as I mentioned two things, Ambassador, Olympics, there's more than that, but all of you are together and you're working together at that time. And so it just develops a different perspective, and that same camaraderie can be taken into the clinic as well. I truly have not had any issues with the PTs on my journey whatsoever in practicing together. So it could be part of that. It's just the mindset, just anticipating that you won't, and just focus on building the relationships. And I think that's a perfect strategy for you.
Yeah, I think like that's super helpful to hear. And I've been like surprised by how good my relationship has been with my supervising PTs. I think often I'm afraid to ask a question or afraid to ask about something they've suggested, because I don't want them to think that, oh, you should know this, you know. But I think it's just been good to like keep that communication really consistent with them. And a lot of times they'll ask me like, oh, what did you do? Because that really seemed to help, you know. So yeah, it's really good to keep that communication flowing. Okay, another question we had was, what is the coolest experience you had being a part of the APTA?
Hmm. I can answer that one. I became the PTA rep for Kansas during the centennial year. And so I went to Washington, D.C. at the House of Delegates, and it was a centennial year. So that would mean that there's a ball and just all of these special things was going on because it was a centennial year. And so I'll say that that was one of the most meaningful times that I had into come into an office of leadership at such a time of that as that. And also with the different changes that are taking place right now with the House of Delegates, having the PTA able to be a delegate for their state as the state chooses, just so many changes. I just think that it's a perfect time for for me to be a part of the APTA and to be a PTA at such a time as this.
I agree with Lorna. We're on a lot of monthly calls together. So it's been really cool over the past year seeing all of the changes with the House of Delegates and how much our profession really is growing. It's really exciting to me to see all the changes to be more inclusive to PTAs and being able to increase our representation. So with that caveat, getting involved and having the PTAs to fill the spots and wanting to be there is very important as well. A cool thing for me that I got to do last year, so I'm the social media lead for all the PTA pages, which led me to the opportunity to be on a podcast, which in my wildest thoughts, I would have never, I mean, I listened to them, but I never thought that I would be on one and talking about PTAs and much like we're talking right now. I did one on the advanced proficiency pathways. You'll see on the social media pages, I share a lot. It's a PTA podcast. So it's two PTAs that are actually doing it. And it's a really, really great resource. So that was a really, really cool experience that I wouldn't have been able to get to do if I wasn't involved in the APTA. And then just learning from other people, I've learned a lot. And I think that that's been really cool as well.
And then can you guys talk a little bit more about your leadership roles within like the APTA?
As the PTA rep for Kansas and slash PTA council rep, it's council rep, but we consider the PTA rep responsibilities to be at the state level and still to be very, very valid and important and relevant to the role of the council. So the PTA council role, what it does is it helps to engage PTAs. That's the objective of the APTA, is membership engagement, is to let the members know the benefit that they have of the APTA and to take advantage of that. So that is the role, the ultimate role of the council. The secondary roles is, yes, those of legislation and to be a part of those changes and to be interested in those changes in our profession, as well as the discussions, the motion discussions and all those things at a state level. I'm involved in all of those things. So Macie, you want to say more about that?
Yeah, I think that it's been super cool. So I kind of stumbled into being an alternate council rep for Alabama. I just wanted to know more about what happens in the monthly meetings. What is everybody actually doing? What are they doing to get towards the goals to decrease reimbursement cuts and direct access? And I just wanted to know, like, I'm paying the money, where is it going, and who's doing what? And they offered me the opportunity to be on the council, which was a really, really great opportunity. And I honestly was amazed, just being on the Zoom meetings and listening to other people talk and how in depth it goes and how knowledgeable all these people are that are doing all these things to help me in my career on a daily, that I'm just practicing, that I could be practicing for years and never even think twice about, which should change. And that's why I wanted to be involved in it, is to be able to be with those people and learning about it. And it's really opened my eyes to a lot of the work that is, I guess, quote unquote, behind the scenes, that people take for granted. So that was really, really cool for me, to have the opportunity to sit in on those meetings and learn from people that have been involved and knows so much more than I knew. So that was really, really great experience. It's opened up. I talked about the education committee and my reasoning for doing that. The membership committee for me is I want to increase PTA involvement. I think that there's power in numbers, and a lot of our goals of what we're wanting to get done will help if we have more PTAs involved. The talk currently is the reimbursement rates for PTAs decreasing. That's a trickle down effect. And I try to explain that to people, not to discourage anybody, but that's why we need to be involved. Is if less money is going into the clinic's pockets, then that's less for pay, that's less for positions they can have open for PTAs. And so it's just very, very important to be involved in that. And then eventually wanting to move our associate's degree to bachelor's degrees. I think that we deserve to be at a bachelor's degree level just because of how much knowledge that we have in hands-on patient care. Just like a nurse to a doctor, a PTA to a PT. So I think that once we grab and get the direct access that we want, then we're able to take steps to hit those goals that we really need. So for me, it's educating people that don't know, like I didn't know, and having them involved and showing them really how much fun it is. All the events they have, all the social aspects of it, having your little team, and building that support. They do fun stuff. I mean, they go to Washington, DC every year. They do like ghost tours and dinners. And like, I see all the pictures because I post them for social media, and I'm like so jealous because they have so much fun. And there's the aspect of it that it is work and they are representing us, but they do it in such a great way and represent us so well. And I think that becoming involved, our younger generation PTAs, as well as our older ones that aren't involved, the more representation we can get, the greater it's going to be. So that's why I decided to do the co-chair for membership. I get to talk to a bunch of people, which I love, and listen to their concerns and be able to send those up the chain, and then also getting them involved to really see how much fun and great this community is.
Absolutely. And that's how we can increase our value.
Mm-hmm.
More that we can increase our value, then it can be seen at the clinic level what our value can be. But we have to know it for ourselves. And so being a part of things such as the council, it allows us to know within our own selves what our capacity is, so that we can step into this role with confidence. We can communicate with confidence around this PT. We can communicate, with confidence and know what our value truly is. And so the relationships that are built during those meetings, I have found to be very, very supportive of all of those.
Thank you guys so much for all you do to increase engagement. I think that is so valuable. I know the reason I got more involved was because I heard about the pay differential, and I know that's not only going to affect PTAs, but also PTs, because there's clinic owners that might not be able to keep their clinics open if they're not getting reimbursed. And so, yeah, just really appreciate what you guys are doing to increase involvement. I'm just going to take one last question from Sophia.
Hi guys. Speaking of all this, I was just wondering because I know I have personally seen the value of APTA membership, but I'm not the average person. I'm very heavily involved in the APTA. But I've been on clinical rotations in the past where people in my clinic have not seen the value, and they will tell me things like, oh no, I'm not going to be a member because it's too expensive. So I'm curious, what do you guys say when people tell you that APTA membership is not worth it or too expensive?
I tell them if it's a financial issue that there are structures that are in place to address that as well. There are payment structures, structures where it can be a monthly fee. And then I also mentioned to them what I mentioned earlier is in terms of APTA as a career partnership to help guide you along the path and to help develop your career and to create those opportunities. That you have to have a networking venue, you have to have a networking pipeline, and so you have one built in right there with that is your profession. Every professional organization, every profession has its professional organization, and so it's a step towards that end of becoming a professional in the healthcare field. And it's an investment within themselves. It's an investment within yourself. So I address those three things. It's a personal investment within yourself. It's your networking opportunity, and it's your partner. It's your career partner if you adjust your mindset to view it as that way. That is truly an investment within yourself.
For me, I make sure that I'm well versed in the different benefits of membership. And whenever I was talking to a clinic earlier this week about the benefits of membership, and after I got done telling them about advanced proficiency pathways to add that extra certification to your PTA degree, about the online CEU registration. Majority of us spend over $250 a year anyway for our continuing ed. We can get it for free through the library with really, really expansive. I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of different CEU courses that you can take. And if you're taking the CEU courses through the APTA, you should be able to get that reimbursed by your clinic that you're working for. Like ours gives us a certain budget that we can spend every year for our continuing ed. There's discounts for hotels, there's discounts for car services, Office Depot, New Balance. Like there's so many things that APTA offers, but a lot of us don't know that we have all that. So whenever you look and just go on the website and look, there's a link on there for benefits of membership and seeing all the different discounts, all the different resources that you're able to gain, all the volunteer opportunities to be able to be involved, networking, like Lorna said, mentorship. It really pays for itself when you look at how much it is. And like I was telling you earlier, I do the payment plan every month. I don't know why it ends up being the same amount of money if I paid it all at once, but to me, it just seems better for me to do the payment plan a month, and it's like $20. That's what your Netflix subscription's going up to $23.99 a month. Okay. So if you can invest to watching Netflix, and you can invest in yourself and your career to further progress what you have going on, it ends up being money back in your pocket. Go get the advanced proficiency pathways, because whenever you go and apply for a job or want a promotion, you can say, well, I have expansive knowledge in this certain area, and that puts more money in your pocket because they want somebody there that knows. So you really have to invest in yourself, make yourself more marketable, show your value. And I think that if you can pay for Netflix and to be able to binge watch Netflix, then you should be able to pay to further your career and your knowledge and investment in yourself.
Well, thank you guys so much just for sharing the value of membership. I think I feel just so inspired and encouraged, and just thankful for you guys. Can you guys give us a way that we can keep in contact with you, whether that's email or social media? If you guys could just put that in the chat so we can have that. That would be awesome.
I'm gonna add like our Instagram page for the APTA PTA. So that is for the national level. I get all the DMs directly to my phone. I think that's a little bit easier for me to keep up with those DMs, just because emails can sometimes get lost. And then you're also able to follow that page where we're posting, hey, we're having this Zoom meeting, or hey, this event's coming up. And then we're right there to answer any questions that you have for that as well. So I'm going to add that in here so y'all can follow that. And then the DMs are open for anything. So don't be afraid to ask any questions on there as well.
Yeah. I put in my personal email in there for you, but certainly following the Instagram and Facebook as well, Macie.
Yes.
Okay. Would definitely be the way to make sure that you know what's going on, but I definitely put my personal information in there for you.
Perfect. Thank you guys, and thank you to everyone for joining. You guys have a good evening.